Hi and welcome to the walkthrough video for Caveman Cosmonaut, a free sample library based on a Unitra B11 transistor organ made in Poland in 1983. Now, transistor organs are probably the least beloved category of vintage keyboards, so we didn't really try to replicate all the original functionality accurately, and instead just used this as raw material to make something new. But if you are, say, a penguin renting a room from a man named Wallace and need a very cheesy Hammond Beat 3 substitute, you can use this. Unlike most transistor organs which just have drawbars, this one also has a bunch of buttons for other sounds, with the harshest of them being the tremolo. This doesn't really have a tremolo effect on it, but it can sound like really old games from before cool stuff like Sound Blasters or SID chips. So far this is all very plain, but will gradually build up to more complex sounds like you heard at the beginning of this video. Everything you hear throughout the entire walkthrough is without any effects, not even Sforzando's built-in reverb. One nice thing is that other than the bass section of the keyboard, the hardware we sampled is fully polyphonic, with each key having a separate voice card, which means the timbre and volume and tuning aren't quite consistent between keys. So while you can basically use this like a typical 70s analog monosynth, it will be a more interesting one because of these subtle differences. We've been working on making synth-like instruments from non-synth sound sources since the bagpipes-based cow synth back in 2014, and more than 5 years later we actually finally did it using waveforms from a synthesized source. Over that time we've developed some pretty cool stuff that goes beyond the typical slap ADSR and low-pass filter on some samples. We have the humanize control, which humanizes each voice independently, so especially once you have a lot of unison voices going, things can get quite complex, and even one note without any parameter changes can make a big evolving sound. Crank the resonance on the filter and make the vibrato faster, and you can use the humanization to get a sound that people making soundtracks for bad sci-fi movies in the 60s would have loved to have available. There's no delay effects here, just multiple voices with randomized LFOs. One new feature that none of our previous instruments have is a more sophisticated detune. In addition to detuning all the voices by some amount or another, you can also detune things more at the start of the note and then let it drift back towards the correct frequency. This is kind of like choir singers starting not quite in tune and finding common pitch. This is useful for making complex pads, and because the sound source is old analog gear, it's perfect for today's 80s music. That's why we called it Caveman Cosmonaut. It's massively, totally anachronistic, and proud of it. Caveman Cosmonaut is free. We've released free stuff for Halloween and April Fool's Day and random other times of the year, but what better time to release a free gift than around Christmas, right? So you can download it from Karoryfer.com and also check out Secret Agent Guitar and Big Rusty Drums, which are two other things we've made by sampling old Polish gear. At some point in January 2020 we might have another old Polish instrument too. And well, that's it. Thanks for watching.